Welcome
Boom.
to another Media Monsters podcast. That's Jeremy Schreifels.
And that over there is Danny Galvez.
Yes, my wall of family. It's my family wall. We just passed down these pictures.
You get the wall of blur today from me.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm like, ooh, what's over there in that corner? How about that corner over there? Ooh, that looks interesting.
It's like an exercise in impressionism. It's like, what would Monet think? I don't know.
It's that your Van Gogh. It's like Jeremy's
Yep.
great, except for the blurry parts of his life.
That's right.
If the past is behind you, what does it look like? Doesn't matter. It's the past.
That's right. It's just a blurred version of it. And here we are. Art is media, and we are the media monsters. So we should also be talking about that type of art. But that's not what we have in store for you today.
What do we have in store today?
I think probably one of the most powerful things you can do as a business owner or entrepreneur right now. And that's figuring out how to get in the right rooms and figure out who are you going to collaborate to help grow and, in my mind, pour rocket fuel on your business.
So let's talk about the old style. Like what were you taught growing up about how to get in rooms? Like, how did you make connections? How did you get into the bands that you got to play for? How did you get those opportunities to, I'm sure at some point it must have been a dream where you're like, man, if I could just get paid to play the drums, that would be awesome.
It would be awesome. And it still is awesome. But part of it, I think for me was just, you had to just go out and be out. You had to go to the places where the things were happening and just try and be noticed or try and start up conversations. I take a more for lack of a better way, passive approach to it. I just want to be in and I want to observe and take in the room or take in a space and then find out where I can fit in, which is probably the most old school way you can do it, because I'm not the shout, high energy, enter a room, everybody turns and looks kind of person.
Which is funny to me because it's kind of an interesting combination. A lot of drummers that I know are like that. They're very introverted, extremely introverted, but then you give them a couple of sticks and a drum kit and they go to town. Like they're literally controlling the tone, the pace, and the energy of the room.
Exactly.
It's like
the best
like
feeling
I am
ever.
God. It's like that is like, I think that's almost a gift from God. It's like, hey, listen, we're gonna take the most quiet, demure person, we're going to put them in the room, and then when you least expect it, we're going to cause a massive explosion, right? And people are going to love it.
Welcome to Drumming 101. You have now graduated.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, because without a drummer, like there's no beat, there is no band. I mean, it's like, yeah, you can have a band, but then, it's not the same without a drummer.
Right.
But I love your approach to that, because that's something where that's one mentality, and there's also another mentality, right? And the other one is like, you have those that are extroverted, that are very aggressive. Think of, your sweaty palm salesperson when you go to a car lot. They've gotten a little bit better over the years, right? But
right.
Back in the day, man, their follow-up games are crazy. They'll send you like 3 emails, a text message, and then hey, are you doing okay? All in a matter of like 6 hours.
Right.
The moment that you submit your form. And I only know this because I was looking at cars recently, and I was like, I just wanted some information on it. I mean, guys, like, I got you ready. Like, I got the paperwork ready here, and just let me know a good time for you to come by. And I was like, hold on. Like, I
haven't even test drove a car yet.
Yeah. Everything they said was yes, 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 and yes. Hey, does it have this? Yes, we can do that. Yes. And everything was a yes. So, but there were tactics and manipulations that were used in the old school and the old style. And it's the relationship with, consumers versus consumer products or services has moved away from being very autocratic. And it used to be, I remember a time where it was like, I'm the authority. I'm the one. I'm the only one. Right.
Right.
And that, again, it goes against the law of abundance. I mean, it goes against the laws of multiplicity, right? Of possibilities. So, right. We're not like that. I mean, you get to a certain age, I think there's a gift that's planted in anybody over 40 where the things you care about aren't as important. And not in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, being preoccupied with what other people think, responding in a timely fashion to somebody who's trying to sell you something. Like, those things aren't important. You don't like to be told what to do. And maybe that's, for some people, that's been their whole life. They usually turn into entrepreneurs.
Right. Quit that W-2 job and turn into an entrepreneur because they don't want to
That's
be
right.
told.
No, they don't want to be told what to do. But now there's a new way to do things. It's a lot easier, and a lot of it's gone more towards the way that you approach and have approached, your career in music, and approach pretty much every business that you're involved in. So why don't you go ahead and talk about some of that, like what things are working for you right now?
The simplest thing, and I say it's simple because it's the idea is simple, but the execution of it isn't always simple. And it's building relationships. And in building those relationships, you start to make connections with others and find out their skills or their talents. And as a music producer, my favorite part of doing that is bringing the right people together to make the magic happen inside of a song. And so I approach the business space the same way. Like, I want to bring the people together that can make that business be amplified in the best way possible. And I have done that through just literally old school relationship building. It was something my dad taught me. He was in a commercial sales position, and he wasn't the handshaking, follow up, knock your door, pound you down, yes, yes, yes guy. He was the, no, you build a relationship, because that relationship will take you from beginning to the end of whatever you want to do. And it's going to bring you 10 more because you had that opportunity to build that relationship and nurture that relationship, and then find out things about people that you're just like, oh, well, how can I help with that? And then it just became like a go-giver mentality. For me, it's just like, I just want to help other people, because if we continue to help those others be successful in their businesses, and it's a pairing with what we're doing, then we're automatically going to succeed and grow at a rate you can't even understand.
Yeah, it's amazing. And to your point too, relationships are the most important. People don't like to be told what to do. They don't like to be dictated. They don't like transactional. We're not transactional beings.
Mm-mm.
Right? We're not. We are not transactional beings. Everything is based on emotion. Everything, it's our intelligence, right? It's the source of it. It's the thing that makes us different from the rest of the animal kingdom. We do go based on feelings. I mean, think about this, like a dog is always happy to see you. They only have that to operate on, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no logic. They don't have speech or anything like that outside of barking, but like they're always happy. Like they're a representation of pure love. And that's how you want people to feel when you walk into a room. So there is a part of you that does need to operate with a very strong command as it pertains to who are you going to develop relationships with, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't go out there willy-nilly just casting your net all over the place. You have to get very specific with who it is that you want to work with. You really do. And I'll tell you, when I worked in radio, I was working in a country station on the morning show. It was the Danny and Drew show. And I was the lead, and they said, listen, we have to look at who our avatar is. That's the first time I heard the word avatars, back in the early 2000s. I was like, avatar, okay, cool, let's talk about that. Basically, your target demographic. What is the median representation of what you do? Who is it consumed by? And we found out that her name was Debbie. She's 44 years old. She drove a minivan. She had 3 children minimum. In some cases could be less, but no less than 2. Her husband is a blue collar worker, or he worked in upper management at like oil field services or energy in the power industry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we kind of dialed everything in. And then it was, God, family, football, country, Walmart, right? Very
Mm-hmm.
conservative leaning values. We knew, okay, if the person that we were trying to get connected with did not fit into this, or the organization did not have the values, the core values to match up with what our target demographic or target avatar was, we didn't approach them. And what we began to do was put together a Dream 100 list of people and organizations that we wanted to make a list with, make relationships with. So you have to be very intentional with that. Otherwise, you're going to waste your time. You're going to waste a lot of your time.
Right. And know that it's like a process of discovery. Like, you can spell out that ideal client or create that avatar. And as you start to do the research to create even that dream 100 list, you're going to find some things you're like, and maybe you are adjusting your avatar as you go. You're like, oh, well, this actually fits this better. But during that research process and finding out who are those decision makers, or who are those people you're actually trying to reach inside of an organization, or who are those consumers you're actually trying to reach. Maybe it's that mom, but maybe it's also the fact that she has a family of 9. She's not like a single child, so like you might find that it goes even deeper than that. You don't know until you start doing that dream 100 list. And once you have that list built, work it.
Mm-hmm. One thing I'll tell you is start with 10, right? Do the stair step, because 100 seems like a lot. But if you start with 10, and let's make it even easier than that, pick 5 individuals that you want to work with in the next 3 to 6 months. And then pick 5 organizations that you really admire, like, and have come to have an affinity for within the next 3 to 6 months. And that's how you begin your list. But inside of this is what happens. With the organization, the list of organizations you make, you're going to find the key people that make the key decisions in those companies. So now your 10 has replicated or duplicated to 15 or 20. Now you have 20 people. The 5 that you're working with individually probably have 1 to 2 friends each, right? So that multiplies to another 10. You look up, you're going to get to your 100 very, very quickly.
So fast. It's incredible. And I guess I look at those as a fun adventure. Like it's a journey, obviously, but an adventure, because you're like, who am I going to have the opportunity to meet and connect with? And I think one thing that I've done once I've made those connections is I hold them tight. Not just hold them tight in terms of like staying connected, but hold them tight as in protect them. Just because I have that relationship and I have that connection doesn't mean that everybody around me also has access to that connection. Because I think it creates in my conversations with those people has been an extra layer of trust and respect that makes that back and forth much easier. It makes it's a stronger relationship, but it also goes deeper in terms of them referring other people to you, because they know that you respect them, you respect the relationship, and there's that trust factor.
I know you're very busy. Most people are very busy. So how do you go about maintaining those relationships from a distance? I know a lot of people that we have relationships with, they're out of state. They live across the United States.
Most of the people that I interact with are nowhere near me. It seems to be the farther away they are, the more people I meet. I make a conscious effort daily to reach out to like 2 to 5 people, or be aware of what they have going on and connect with them in some way. It doesn't have to be grand gestures. Sometimes it's just like, hey, you're in Canada. Did the snow melt there yet? Because it's almost gone here in Minnesota. Finally. It can be that simple. And people just know that you're aware of what they have going on, where they live, what kind of climate they're in. Danny's been in heaven for months because he hasn't had to deal with minus 30. And I think we capped out at just over 90 inches of snow for this past winter.
You guys are underachievers up there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I am in paradise because I set my intentions for it. Because back when I did live in Minnesota and Wisconsin and experienced 60 below, and I was like, why am I here? I remember when you're in your 20s, you have your cars aren't the greatest. Maybe they break down. Well, I had those experiences. I've been in 6.5 hour traffic on Thanksgiving on I-94 when I was trying to get home to Wisconsin for Thanksgiving, and sitting there going, what could be so bad? Like, it was amazing. But to your point, it's great to do that, make observations. Social media tells you a lot of what you need to know. And 9 times out of 10, people are going to be like, oh my God, you're paying attention to me. I'm honored that you took the time to make the decision to actually go in and say something or take some time out of your day and look at my feed to see what I'm up to. it's great for people. It's rewarding. It's a pat on the back, and it's smart. It's really smart.
Right. And some of the, I don't want to call them old school ways because they're not old school. They still work, sending thank you cards.
Yeah.
Send a happy birthday message. I know many of our friends send, like, part of their morning routine is sending people messages, video messages saying happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these people have literally made hundreds of thousands of dollars just by doing that. And it was literally because somebody was like, wow, they actually cared to take 75 seconds out of their day to say happy birthday.
That's right. Yeah. And it goes for anniversaries, any occasion you can think of. Easter, Ramadan, doesn't matter what you celebrate, right? Or just a quick, hey, I just wanted to check in on you. Or, hey, the way that goes is, hey, I just wanted to let you know I really appreciate you. I watch your content every day. A video from somebody, even a voice memo, is very powerful. To Jeremy's point, though, like to your point on sending things, if you don't have somebody's address, it's a great way and a great reason to reach out, number one. Number two, you can capture their address and put it in your database. So if it's like, hey, what's up, Shelly? Listen, I'm just wanting to find out when your birthday is. I like to send out birthday cards. And it's wonderful because once you have that address, you can send what I like to call discretionary gifts. They're not guaranteed. You like that? Yeah. It doesn't have to be a holiday. I used to send out unbirthday birthday cards, like the non-birthday birthday cards.
I love that.
Yeah, it's fun. And if you can capture somebody and like stop by and be like, happy birthday, and totally surprise them when it's not their birthday, it's one of the best moments in the world. It's one of the, like, nobody else is going to think to do that on a regular basis. But if you make that part of, your process on reaching out to people and really adding that extra little flair or spark in the room, it doesn't matter if you're an introverted person or you're extremely extroverted. People are going to pay attention because of the way that you made them feel.
I love it. I feel like we could go for another hour, Danny, but
oh yeah,
people got to get to work and they got to do this work and they got to take action on some of the things that we talk about. Hit us up in our Media Monsters Facebook group. Let us know, what are you doing to connect with other people?
That's right.
We would love to know because there are hundreds of people in that group that also want ideas.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. Jeremy said we could go on for days and days, but you got to treat it like chocolate cake and put it away for later. So make sure you follow us if you're listening to the podcast. Make sure you find our YouTube channel at Media Monsters 1111 on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever you need to. Tag somebody who needs to see this or you think would be a great addition to the community, like Jeremy said, on Facebook at Media Monsters. I'm excited. I got some homework to do now.
I got some more homework to do.
Thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourself. Have a blessed week.